Hello everyone, welcome to my video. So in this particular video, I'm going to explain about the research proposal of my research background and my related literature review. So before we dive further into the discussion of such thing, I will first like to introduce myself. My name is Kadek Krishna Dharmaputra. I'm currently in education at Ganesha University of Education. Uh, my major is English language education, and I'm currently in fourth semester. So without further ado, let's move on with the first about the research background. So first, we have to see at the title of the research proposal itself. So in here, actually, the main topic, our main idea is that I will want to find about the effect of online video games on English education. In today's era, the video games itself has attributed to many sorts of things and many sorts of entertainment. So to not miss that kind of entertainment value, there will be a significant amount of youth that delve further into the realm of video game itself. And there's a few specific segments that have some sort of interaction with each of the player itself. It is online video game. So what being meant by online video game is that it is a video game that is connected with each other online. So here's I explain at the first paragraph. I explain about the way or how English has attributed as the most spoken language. Of course, but what being meant by this is that as the English language being the most spoken language, it certainly will help with the way that the internet works, because internet it is a special kind of place or special kind of fast network that connect its users separately into a large bodies of user. It is of course because the English language is mainly spoken in the world. This means that it is used every day, even in our society. So I want to measure about the effect of online game itself. It is also connected to the internet, the online aspect of the video games, and therefore it certainly have some form of effect. Either it could be negative or positive effect. So let's move on to the part. So here's I mentioned about acquisition or language acquisition, because as expected, most of the video game in today's society is created in a language that it is the main language of English in order to attract a large kind of audience or to get the market. Some developer as intentionally or unintentionally uh, create an environment for people or for students, in this case the younger audience that I refer to learn about the English language. So acquisition is an act of learning the language or the English language unconsciously. However, in online learning or not online learning, in online environment, the digital environment, it is not only that the student or the player learn by learning the language unintentionally, but they can also learn it intentionally. It is can be done in some form of way, either it verbally or spoken, verbally or written. The student or the player itself will be expected to cooperate with their teammate in an online environment. Of course, if they want to win, they have to speak or they have to communicate in some form of way. And here's what I want to measure: but how the student itself can describe or can learn about English from this specific kind of interaction with the stranger. It could be a native speaker or a fellow online player that both doesn't have English as their native language. However, they learn from each other due to the needs for communication in the online gaming skill. So let's move on. So of course, we not only look at the potential benefit or potential positivity of the online game itself, but we'll also look further into the negativity of the online game itself. So here are research. So about the potential disruptive behavior that is created by the online game. As we know, everything that is done in excess will eventually lead to some form of addiction. It could be addiction or it could be some form of negative impact. And video game does not be invincible, or it is adjusted in this kind of rule also it is applied. So the assumption here is that the longer time that a person or a player play a video game, the worse their result in either student their achievement in learning and some form of that. Maybe their grade will drop and all everything in accordance. So this is what we want to quantify in this particular research. We want to find either about what is the correlation between the hours that is being played by the player and their student achievement. And of course, in order to make it connected with English language education, we have to find about whether it have some form of benefit in which can be measured, either it through the student English grade or English course grade that is affected. Uh, Without further ado, let's move on to the related literature review. So there are some form of related literature review that I have I have gathered. The first one we are going to talk about the stance of English as the most popular language. It is according to Bout and Cable. In 93, it is expected or it is mentioned that there's explosive growth of internet and English as a main language at the time were expanding with it. And therefore, by having such a thing, we expect that this particular language, or in this case, English, influence people that use it. Or in this particular, the internet use English as the main language. And therefore, the people that use that internet will also be influenced by the language itself. So let's move further on. Here's I explain about the intentional or unintentional process of language acquisition. And here we have a high chance of the younger audience in appealing to the related online game. As we expect, online game is a fairly, fairly, fairly popular media of entertainment, and therefore any young generation now will or can be expected to know some form of thing about online games. In this particular case, the student that we want to talk about is the student that have an interaction with foreigner, or let's just say English language in general. So here's in addition may occur when playing in so previously we have mentioned about the negativity side of the online game. So in this next section of the paragraph, I explain about the assumption that online game may have some form of variable that in which refer to the revert refer to the benefit of the online game due to unexpected or due to lower societal or environment anxiety, the player itself will be able to speak using English as compared to when they speak in school. They will be more engaged and more active in speaking the English language in online game setting rather than being in the school. This is can be attributed to the anxiety value that what school language teaching have as compared to an environment or leisure environment in formal one in the video game or digital environment. And as such, they are more we're more willing to be able to participate with their fellows player. And this sort of create an ideal ground for speaking the language or the English language with any kind of the player as it decreases their tension itself. So I think that's all about the related literature review. As being explained here, due to lower formality level of the environment, the proper space created sense of reduced pressure. So there are, to sum it up, there are actually a few main points that I want to try to make in this particular research proposal. The first one is that English language is important the in the internet environment. And the second one is online game as a stem from the internet itself. This is a form of entertainment. It has some form of effect, either it could be negative or positive effect. So for the negative effect, it is directly correlated with the correlation between the long playing hour and the student load achievement. However, there's a caveat. Student itself, due to the nature of online environment, have some form of learning opportunity or language learning opportunity in the online environment, and therefore online game also can be utilized for the student to learn more about the online game. It's about the online language itself, the English language. I think that's all about the material or the research proposal that I can explain. Uh, Thank you all for watching, thank and see you soon.